Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets, how to increase your market business success while providing people with fresh food. Farmers markets are essential. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer or food maker selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast. This week, we're joined by Ivy Hagedorn and Lindsay Gagnon of the Joplin Empire Farmers Market to discuss how their farmers market helped revitalize their downtown business district and breathed new life into a historical building. Hey everyone, I'm one of your hosts, Bridget Myers. I'm a longtime farmers market manager and education coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Kat Fields-White, Director of San Diego Markets, where I'm still an active farmers market manager, consultant, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and host of Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, and the Farmers Market Pros community.
And I'm Justine Marzoni-Mead, Tent Talk producer, marketing director for Farmers Market Pros, and logistics coordinator for Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, coming right up March 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2023. Woohoo!
So soon.
Yeah.
That is just months away, mere months away.
And actually, a little pre-conference action on the 5th. The food corridor folks are going to teach everybody who wants to know about kitchen incubators. So
Oh, fun.
that'll be handy.
And we're going to talk a little bit about kitchens today.
That's right. Ties in. Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by the Food Corridor, streamlining rental kitchen operations to make things easier for kitchen managers and food entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. Their online platform makes equipment scheduling, storage space assignment, and billing seamless and provides alerts to be sure each vendor's permits and insurance are current. If adding an incubator kitchen is part of your market's strategic plan, they can help. Find out more by clicking the Food Corridor logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Well, welcome back to Tent Talk, everybody. Today, we are excited to be joined by Ivy Hagedorn, Programming and Marketing Director of the Downtown Joplin Alliance, and Lindsay Gagnon, Empire Market Director. Welcome to Tent Talk, Ivy and Lindsay.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, we really are excited to be chatting with you guys today.
We're excited to have you on. You guys have such a cool kind of situation going on over there. So we're excited to dig into all the fun stuff you have happening. But let's just start off with a little bit about your personal and professional background and what led you to farmers markets. Ivy, do you want to start and tell us how you got into this biz?
So a few years ago, I was just, I had my own business. I was designing and making jewelry. And I got involved with our local Main Street organization, Downtown Joplin Alliance, just through a few events and helped them put on a few as a volunteer. And, you know, getting involved with that group, it just really kind of sparked something in me. And I had actually moved away from Joplin for quite some time and come back to it. And I wanted to stay this time. I didn't want to leave again. But that meant like I wanted to kind of make it more of the community that I wanted to see, you know, like the places that I've gone, you know, when I've traveled and lived other places. So getting involved with DJA was, for me, the best way to do that. And one of the things that I would love doing when I traveled would be to go to farmers markets. And, you know, looking around Joplin, I was like, we don't have a good farmers market. At the time, we had a couple of smaller ones that were very seasonal and just were like in parking lots around the city and just were not very fun to go to be honest. Like it was not a good experience. And we did have in our local metro area a very good farmers market in Webb City, Missouri, that had been around at this time for about 20 years. And I would visit that and be like, well, what the heck? You know, we're the bigger city. Why don't we have this? And so a lot of my friends and I within the organization, you know, kind of started thinking, okay, where could we put one? What could we do? And then, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, but things just kind of happened to where we were able to get a facility that would beautifully house a farmer's market. And so at that time, I was on the board of Downtown Joplin Alliance, and knew that I kind of wanted to spearhead the project. So I did so as a volunteer for over a year, about a year and a half. And then I was brought on a few months before we opened as a part-time employee as the market director. And we opened in April of 2018. And within less than a year, we managed to make my position a full-time position.
The job that keeps growing.
Exactly.
We can't wait to hear more about how the market got started. Let's talk a little bit to Lindsay about what her background is and what she did before she was a farmer's market person. Not too many of us are born into this, but what was your background?
Yeah, I am so embarrassed to say that I did not regularly go to farmers markets before moving to Joplin. Now I've since been in Joplin for 11 years now. Kind of similar to Ivy, I wasn't from the area, but originally from Wichita, Kansas area, which is a much larger city than Joplin, and kind of used to those bigger city amenities and activities and things going on. They've got a great downtown area that my husband and I used to love going to, eating out and hanging out and things. So when we moved to Joplin, we just didn't see a lot of that going on in town. And we decided if we were going to stay here long term, that maybe we were going to be part of the people who built the things that we wanted to see in Joplin. So we got involved with Downtown Joplin Alliance, mostly myself as a volunteer, and then later a board member. I remember when we were first donated our facility that we ended up using for the market, I was there with some of the first groups of people to tour it, and remember just getting so excited to hear about potential future plans of having a farmers market in Joplin. I had since started going to farmers markets and things and getting involved with farmers markets. But as far as finding myself managing one, never in a million years thought that was going to happen. My background is in banking. So I spent over a decade in the banking industry, mostly commercial banking. But with that, it more of a rural area. We worked with a lot of farmers and ag clients and things like that. I say Wichita, but I actually grew up in a very small town outside of Wichita, and have a kind of a country environment background, I guess, just as far as what the area that I was used to. So, I think it was post COVID, and I had spent over a year or two working from home, and had to go back to the office full time, and just really struggled with that. Really struggled with having to sit in an office Monday through Friday 8 to 5, and transfer gobs of money for people that I didn't know, or
No, transferring gobs of money sounds sort of fun.
I know.
Depends where you're transferring
when
it.
it's not yours, it's it's not as fun when it's not yours. But just kind of looking, I wasn't specifically looking for something different, but feeling like a lot of people, I think at that time, just feeling some unease with where I was at in my career, kind of what was the next step for me. And around that time, Lori, our executive director of Downtown Joplin Alliance, approached me. I was actually coming off of the board because I was kind of too overwhelmed, too many pokers in the fire. And when I came off the board, she offered me a full-time job. So actually the opposite sort of happened. I thought I was going to be stepping back from some things, and actually I just decided to kind of implode my whole existence and do a career change in my 30s. And it's been really great, though. It's been so fulfilling, so fun, really cool and exciting. And I'm even, Ivy said I'm a little over a year in, and I'm really excited for, the future years of building on what I've already been able to kind of see happen.
Awesome. So it sounds like you guys are both really involved. Ivy, what does your day-to-day look like when you're in your role now at the market?
So even after a year of this new position, programming and marketing director, we're still kind of figuring out how it all works. A lot of what I do is on the computer these days. I do a lot of the design work for all of our social media. I'm getting ready to start the overhaul of our website. We actually received a grant this past year for website assistance, and it's taken a while to get it all rolling, but we're getting ready to do that in this fall. Like a lot of us, we do a weekly staff meeting. We do a weekly walkabout in our downtown where we just go around and we, visit, particularly if it's a newer shop. We want to try to get to know the business owners or the restaurant owners. But we also will try to go in and visit, the long-standing, patrons of downtown and just see what's going on. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of whatever needs to be done, plus just like your general social media and newsletter and that type of thing.
Great. I love that idea of the walkabout. We should do that in Little Italy.
Yeah.
Just pop on in.
Pop in and say hi.
We're the market.
Yeah. Just like build that relationship from the market to the businesses that are there every day.
We did do that in the old days. It's probably time to do it again.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
That community keeps growing.
There's a lot more businesses down there, so that's great. And then, Lindsay, what's your day-to-day like now? You're at the market, running the market?
Yes. So we have a weekly market that runs year-round, every single Saturday. So I have kind of my regular weekly stuff that I do, whether that's floor planning for the upcoming Saturday, or if we've got anything special going on that Saturday, making sure that we've got extra volunteers or things in place for that. We also do a curbside online ordering service. So that's open between Tuesdays and Thursdays during the week for customers to place orders online and then pick up and on Saturdays during our market hours. So there's some time spent out of the week managing that, contacting the vendors who are on curbside, checking in with them, making sure that they've got all their items up to date and current, doing some social media for that Ivy mentioned that I do. And just kind of general market upkeep and maintenance and things. We have an indoor facility, so bathrooms need to be cleaned, floors need to be swept, ice machine needs to be changed and that's not even counting. We haven't even touched on our newest addition to our market, which is our commercial kitchen. So that's going to be a whole new set of daily responsibilities, I'm sure. But so that's kind of I look at it more of from a weekly point of view. There's always things that come up if I try to plan out my days too much, there's something that always comes up and wrench gets thrown into the plans. And so I kind of look at it a little bit more on a weekly schedule, but I'm also the one who reviews or accepts all of our vendor applications. So I'm reviewing those, making calls, chatting with potential new vendors, working on recruiting new vendors. We still are a growing market. So, finding that balance between increasing public awareness of the market. So doing community outreach, working with different community partners. I do a lot of that. To build awareness in Joplin that we're there, that we are a weekly farmers market. Here's the services that we provide, and then also balancing that with making sure that we have enough vendors who are selling good things every Saturday for customers that come see us. So that's I don't know, probably in a really small nutshell.
But, is that all you do?
We get it.
A lot. No, it's like I would take an hour to probably just go down the list.
Our business cards are large. They're brochures.
That's right. Gigantic business cards.
It's the same for us over here.
Exactly.
So, Lindsay, can you just give us like the basics of the Joplin Empire Market? Like, what days and hours are you open? How many vendors do you have? And like, what is the breakdown of like farmers to other types of vendors?
Sure. Well, like I said, we are a yearly farmers market. We're open every Saturday year round from 10 to 2. So we are open. We open a little bit later than maybe a traditional farmers market. But with us having an indoor facility and wanting to create more of a city market vibe, we want to be able to offer food options, lunch, for people to hang out and have lunch, or maybe different activities. We have a special type of event, usually about once a month during our market hours, that kind of brings in extra crowds to be able to have activities and things to do on their Saturdays. So that's just our regular hours. Like I said, we do have about monthly events. We do a couple, usually once or twice a year, we do a night market where we open up we have a large courtyard area and a community garden space. We open that up, put vendors outside, live music, food trucks. That's a real good time. And then we had last weekend, we did, trick or treating, things like that. We'll do smaller type things as well, just kind of bring in those extra people that may not normally come out on a regular Saturday. We average about 20 to 25 vendors a week. We try to keep a 70 to 30% ratio of food to artisan vendors. So we currently only have about 2 or 3 regular produce vendors that sell year round. Now that jumps up to 5 or 6 seasonally. We have some produce vendors that will sell at other markets and then sell at us during those markets, off seasons, things like that. So about 5 to 6 regular produce vendors throughout the year that you'll see at the market. But then we have several like food centric vendors then on top of that. So whether that's meat, bread, prepared food items, we have a vendor called Non-Made. They're great. They do Thai spring rolls and fried dumplings and things. It's really great. So we try to keep, like I said, that 70 to 30% food to artisan ratio.
Great. Well, it sounds like you have a really awesome collection of vendors and farmers there in Joplin. We're really curious to find out about your venue space. I mean, we're located in San Diego, so the idea of an indoor market is a huge novelty to us. But it sounds like it's great in your area and it allows you to host your market year round. Can you just tell us a little bit about the structure, how it came to be, how your market got hold of this awesome space, and kind of just the history of that building in Joplin?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that one. So one of the things when we were first discussing, wanting to do a market was just kind of like I'd mentioned before, how sad some of the other ones had been that we'd had even within our downtown, where, it's just in a parking lot and no trees, no shade, traffic just going right by.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with
the thousands of us who are running those kind of markets.
Absolutely. But I've seen it done a lot better, let's say, than it was being done. So, we liked the idea of doing it inside some kind of structure, but we didn't have anything in mind. And then we got a call from someone at the city because our major utility company, at the time it was called Empire District Electric. They had been this area's major electrical provider for 130 years. And they were actually in the process at the time of being purchased by Liberty Utilities, which is a utility company out of Canada. And that's now our regional provider. But at the time, it was still Empire. And they had this facility, which is like 3 city blocks worth of building and parking lot, even some grass lots. And they had been it had closed down operations just in I think 2014, and had been sitting vacant, and they just wanted it gone. And they tried to give it to the city. The city didn't want it. The city doesn't really like, owning that kind of property. But the city manager at the time knew that we were looking for a place to potentially do some type of market. And so they reached out to us, and this was literally the month I joined the board after this kind of started coming about. But I was there on the very first day back it was late November in 2016 that we first got to tour this place. And so the main structure is an old brick building that was built in 1907. And for the first several years of its existence, it was the Joplin Casket Company. And they would build caskets, load them up onto, there's a little railroad spur that goes right outside the facility. They would load them up there and send caskets to the entirety of the Western United States. We were actually, at the time, it was the westernmost casket company, like casket manufacturer in the United States. But it was only there for about 5 years, and then Empire District Electric took over the building, and it was one of their main facilities for several years. It was a warehouse. It was where the linemen's offices were, the engineers. And this was for over 100 years. Empire was there. There were offices upstairs. The ground floor is all poured concrete floors with, they stored all kinds of equipment there. We have a giant truck bay, which will someday become an open air pavilion for us. We have a little additional brick building on the corner of the property. That was the meter shop, where they would repair and make electrical meters. That is actually currently being rented out to one of our market bakers so that she can have a commercial facility there. And then also one of our downtown coffee roasters also is in that building.
Wow, that sounds so incredible.
So that's kind of the history of the building. It's a really cool, the whole point of us taking it, and it was a fight. Like, our organization at the time only had 2 part-time employees, neither of whom really wanted to take on this building. It was a largely event-driven organization, and we were not officially affiliated with the National Main Street Program. At the time, we were not accredited, not even like associate or affiliate tier. And it was a fight. And I was just glad that I was on the board by then, because I fought for it. And so it happened very quickly. And in December of 2016, we got the building, got the property. It was just an old warehouse, but we could see the potential everywhere. We could look at these truck bays with their disintegrating giant doors and think, how cool would that be if those were glass and we could put micro storefronts in there, or that could just be an event rental space, or just the farmers pavilion. We saw additional just little paved concrete areas and we decided, we're calling that the courtyard.
So much fun. You have so much to work with. Ivy, can you tell us, you said that the whole building was 3 city blocks. How much of the space does the Empire Market use?
So the market uses almost the entirety of the ground floor of the main building, which I believe, I always get the square footage stuff wrong. But I think we're looking at about 15. Let's see, the kitchen itself is 25.
It was 25.
So I think I think the overall footprint of where the market can be, not including the outdoor, 23,000 square feet that is available. But we also have booths and tables, bathrooms. And not all of that is being utilized currently because we still have some projects that, need to happen. And then there's the pavilion, of course, which the old truck bays, which would almost, add, it would almost double the capacity.
So what happens in the building on non-farmers market days? Is there any sort of activation going on there?
Yes. We have offices upstairs that are for rent, and almost all of them are rented out currently to local small businesses. We have our staff offices up there, 4 of them. We have a conference room that any of our tenants are able to use. And then for the actual market floor, we do rent that out for events. We don't do it all the time. It's not something we've really pushed to a huge degree because, as Lindsay can attest, it's kind of a pain. You have to, we've actually always allowed our vendors to keep some of their display pieces inside if they are a vendor who has a season pass, because why not? They're going to be there. So if we're renting out the entire ground floor, then the vendors have to move all their things out. We have to move some stuff, but we do it. I mean, we've had weddings there, we've had birthday parties, we've had little micro conferences. We have this will be, I think, the third year coming up, or where one of our local charitable organizations who kind of aids the homeless is doing an event called Empty Bowls, where it's basically a whole day of they're selling handmade ceramic bowls, and then they have all the soup donated, and all the proceeds go back to this organization.
Yeah, we love Empty Bowls events. They're so cool. Hey, can I ask you, Lindsay, when you've got a vendor with a season pass that stores their booth set up, or their has product stored there or whatever, do you charge them extra for that? And is there a way that you keep that stuff secure?
We don't currently charge extra for that, and we don't usually allow them to keep the product on the floor. So with their pass, they are able to, again, if it's a season pass or if they're selling, consecutive weeks in a row, we offer 3, 6, and 12-month passes. So depending on what they've signed up for, they are allowed to keep their display items on the floor. So tables, tablecloths, chairs, stands, things like that they may be using. We don't encourage them to leave their product on the floor, because the building isn't always fully secured downstairs. So the couple of instances or exceptions where that has happened, we've had them sign liability waivers, essentially releasing the organization of responsibility. If we're not down there, even if I am down there, I can't be expected to monitor, the whole space at all times. And we also have a master gardener who is a regular volunteer at the market, and he has an office downstairs in our market area. So he's there most days, so that gives us a little bit of peace of mind, as far as someone's usually around downstairs most days. I'm around downstairs most days. So as far as, just random people coming in off the street, it does happen sometimes. But, usually myself or Eric, our gardener who works at the market, will usually catch them and have conversations. It's mostly people just curious about what it is. We still have people every week who don't even know that we're there in town. So they're curious to know, what is this place? So for that reason, we tell our vendors, like, if you're going to leave your stuff, don't leave product. We can't be held responsible for anything that goes missing. But it is a nice perk for vendors who are used to selling at outdoor markets, who have to bring in all of their stuff, set up all of their stuff every single week.
Yeah, it'd be really, really huge. I can see vendors being really excited by that.
Yeah, this is a
I'm interested that so for a year-round market, I'm interested that you just do seasonal passes. So you don't expect people to be there all year. You've got a 3-month or a 6-month or a 12-month commitment.
Yeah, we have several vendors who are there full year-round, who purchase the year-round passes. I think I probably have about 10 or so off the top of my head who do that. And then we have some vendors who, like I said, they will maybe sell at other markets around the region, around town, or not town, but in our metro area and things like that. So offering a 3 or 6 month pass is a little bit easier for them who maybe are, selling at other markets during other seasons.
Gotcha. I want to ask you just one quick question, because we're kind of getting tight on time here. We're going to have to wrap up soon. But operating markets under a Main Street organization, does the Main Street brand have an impact on y'all? Do you get much support from that national organization? And does it, provide you with a structure that you didn't have before?
One thing I can say is that, not so much specific to the farmers market piece, although there has been some of that. But the fact that we are now a Main Street organization and nationally accredited, state accredited, gives, at least for most of us, a sense of security. Like, this organization has floundered in the past. Even within the last 10 years, that if one person had left at this time, there would have been no institutional memory, and who knows what would have happened. And particularly now, with the market being under our banner, that's the livelihood, or at least part of the livelihood of, dozens of small businesses. And it's nice to know that even if for some reason all 4 staff members, had to depart tomorrow, that there would still be people within the state and then, the national organization who could come in and step in and be like, okay, hey, here's the structure, here's what they were doing. Let's keep this going.
Yeah, just as far as the organizational structuring of that, I think is really helpful being affiliated and accredited through a Main Street organization. I think it also has helped with, with our vendors. We see them as their own, businesses. They're their own little small businesses, and we've been able to kind of use what we do with our downtown revitalization and economic vitality work through the Main Street program to help as those vendors maybe grow their businesses to open brick and mortar buildings, find spaces downtown and expand and kind of assist them as they grow their businesses and things as well. And we get some of those resources from the Main Street organization.
It's nice to have the Main Street organization and the market working so closely together just to help them as they grow, like you said, and just kind of use those same resources. And we love Main Street America. Mm-hmm. We had a great time at their conference. And
that's how I found out about you guys, is because some guy came by and he was like, you have to talk to the Joplin Farmers Market.
When we were at the Main Street Main Street USA conference, actually. Last year.
It was great.
We love our Main Street friends.
We'll be back there in the spring. So, real quick before we wrap up, just wanted to touch base a little bit about that commercial kitchen that you all have as part of your market space. Can you tell us about that new project just briefly and how that's going to be tied in with the farmers market?
So it's been a wild ride for sure, but we knew that we would eventually want to have some sort of commercial kitchen, commissary kitchen that our vendors and the public could access. So that, it was kind of on the planning board for years. And I won a grant through the Missouri Department of Ag for food insecurity in urban areas, and specifically to start construction on said commercial kitchen. So we've been in the midst of construction for most of this year. It was not a great time to build. So we are actually, even though we did meet our initial budgeting quotes, with supply chain issues and the war, even the war in Ukraine and some different inflation stuff like that has come up, it's actually increased the budget over $100,000 more than what we were initially anticipating. But we've got a great engaged board that's been helping with fundraising. So we anticipate being able to meet that new price, that new goal. We're hoping to have it fully operational by the first of the year. So that's coming up pretty quickly here. I think in the coming months, we'll probably have some market vendor guinea pigs that I've been talking to, who are going to start serving. We have serving windows that face our customers. So it's kind of in our market area. So customers can go right up to the window, order food on Saturdays when we're open. So we'll have some guinea pigs in, before the first, but then after the first, it'll be available for market vendors to sell out of during Saturdays, but then also throughout the week for other, food entrepreneurs or businesses that are needing access to commercial kitchens to prepare whatever food items that they sell to the public. We've also been working with the MU Extension on potentially having cooking demonstrations or some nutritional education classes and things like that. So a variety of uses that we'll be excited to offer with this new kitchen.
What a great tool. That's such a great thing for a market to have. That's exciting. So we'll have to check back with you after the first of the year and see how that's going and kind of check in with the market. So we'll kind of keep eyes on you. But it's been really great to speak with both of you today. This has been really interesting. You have such a unique kind of market setup there and something that I know a lot of people can try to work towards. So thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, and maybe we'll see you at the conference in the spring for Main Street.
I'm just excited to anybody that's got bathrooms and is now going to have a kitchen. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I heard ice kitchen. I heard ice machine. I got really excited.
Yeah, anytime I was like ice machine.
Ice machine on site. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you so much for being with us. Hope to see you somewhere soon.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks for listening today, and big thanks to the Food Corridor for making things smooth and easy for rental kitchen managers. They help food entrepreneurs throughout the U.S., and they support Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. Meet the Food Corridor team on site at Intense 2023, the Farmers Market Conference, in March. In the meantime, find more information by clicking the Food Corridor logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Farmers markets are all about connection, and all of us, operators, farmers, and vendors, keep learning. Connect with people just like you from various parts of the country and share what's happening in your area in the terrific conversations over in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community. If you're actively involved in a farmers market, please find us there, answer the 3 qualifying questions, and join the group. You can also message us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros or email us at connect@farmersmarketpros.com. If you're looking for further education, check out our online course offerings at farmersmarketpros.com. Thanks for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you access your podcasts, and tell us and others how you're enjoying Tent Talk. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss the next episode. Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is proudly produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll have another great episode next week, so tune in.